Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today we're back in the overworld briefly, but we are going to be returning to the Nether very soon. We're actually going to have kind of a Nether week of sorts here. We started off with the Blaze Spawner and today we're going to look at Nether travel because as you have probably noticed from the last couple of videos, I haven't really done a whole lot with my Nether Hub since I first introduced the concept back in the early days of this series. And the reason for that is I'm not entirely convinced by the theme. I kind of want to change things up a little bit, but that's not what we're going to worry about today. Today, we're actually going to be working on some travel stuff, some travel infrastructure for the Nether. We're going to be working on getting places fast, specifically to some more far-flung places like the Guardian Farm or the portal that I've created to the Mesa and Jungle biomes, which I haven't actually been back to for a good long while. But for now, I'm actually going to load up the furnaces over here with some blaze rods. They're just going to sit in the hoppers for the moment, but I figure I've got the blaze rods at this point. I may as well use them, and we can put them in these furnaces to cook up some of the netherrack that we've collected from the last little while, because netherrack is a block I'm not planning on using a great deal for building with. However, once smelted, it can turn into nether brick, and from nether brick, we can make it into the nether brick blocks, which are going to be worth building with in future. In fact, we might even end up using some of those around Founder's Forge if I can find the right things to build with them. And strangely enough, despite having a massive storage system, I am still dropping off a lot of my supplies at the farmhouse, and this chest here in particular has begun filling up with netherrack to the point where I can't really fit anything else in it. So I think I'll probably bring some of this over to Vulcan's Forge, and we can actually make some of this into nether brick. Should have plenty there to get us started at least. Unfortunately, Vulcan's Forge is going to be unloaded when we are in the Nether, so we're not really going to see the benefits of this until I come back to the overworld after a little while. But for now, at least, we should be able to get this stuff started, at least have the minecart here loaded up with the netherrack, and then we'll be able to reap the rewards next time we're around here. And with that taken care of, let's step back through into the Nether and let's take a look at the locations that we plan to go. Because as far as Nether Portals go, we have this Nether Portal here, which leads back to Founder's Forge, or rather to the farmland just outside Founder's Forge. This one here leads to the swamp. There's one over there, which leads to the village. We have one back through the fortress in that direction, which leads to the stronghold. You can also get to that kind of by going down this way. If you go that way, you get to the village where we found Mendelssohn, the mending villager, and a little bit further out that way, you get to the Desert Temple. And from the Desert Temple, there's a portal even further out, which takes you to the Mesa. Last but not least, over in this direction, if I take my rockets, which is how I've been getting to these portals through the Nether in the first place, if we fly over the side of this, on the left-hand side down here, we should have a portal to the Mushroom Island, which I think is a little bit further along this way. This one here leads to the Ocean Monument. That one there, yeah, that one there leads to the Mushroom Island. So there are a bunch of portals in very disparate locations here, and these are all ones which aren't really going to fit in the design of our Nether Hub because they're just slightly too far out. So whatever we end up doing with the Nether Hub, whether I decide to keep the castle design or not, we are going to have to find ways of getting out to these quicker. And ways that don't involve fireworks, just in case I either don't have my elytra on me, my elytra is low in durability, and I don't want to mend it at the time, I'm out of fireworks, whatever the circumstance, I want an alternative way of getting to this portal in particular, because the Guardian Farm is very useful, but also out to the Mushroom Island and some other places if I need to. And it's for that purpose that I plan to establish a secondary level to my existing Nether Hub, one that actually matches the elevation of some of these portals a little better, because the Nether Hub is built more around here. It's about Y70 something, I think. If we get back over here, you'll probably be able to measure that for real. Let's take a quick hop back over to the Nether Hub, but I think, yeah, actually around here it's generated a little bit lower than that, so we might not need to go quite so high with this. Okay, that's at Y60, so that's not too bad. But either way, I'm thinking we probably need to establish a secondary Nether Hub level a little bit further down that will take us directly out to some of those portals. Like, for example, the one over there that's in the Desert Temple is a little bit lower down in the Nether. The one over this way to the Mushroom Island is the same. Let's take the coordinates of each of these. I think that will probably benefit us in the long run. Once we've dealt with this guy, at least. Haha, fireball directly to your face. Okay. Anyway, what was I saying? Gust fireballs tend to distract to me ever so slightly. There we go. So this one's at Y59. So that's more or less actually level with the Nether Hub. So we could do an offshoot from the Nether Hub that went directly to here. That's quite a long path to walk, though. And down here, for some reason, Endermen always seem to spawn in this area. They seem to really like the portal to the Mushroom Island. Maybe it's the mycelium. It's all the purple. Here, we're at Y46, so that's down even lower. So that would definitely benefit from a better Nether Hub connection. And as we go out this way, this one over here is the one that leads to the Desert Temple. That's around the back of the enormous Nether Fortress where we're eventually going to build a Wither Skeleton farm. And this portal is at Y44. So 44, 46, that's not too far apart. Now, I have no idea where the portal to the Mesa is, or even if I actually made one, because I'm fairly certain what I did was create the portal but never make a matched portal on the other side. So chances are I've still got the coordinates of that written down somewhere. Let me find that. Okay, so that portal is at -575, -15. So that's actually way back in this direction, but then a good deal that way. And that's not a portal that I've made. I'm pretty certain I have not made that one yet. But if we continue back this way, that might actually line up slightly better with our regular hub over in this direction. Yeah, because -15 is more like over here. Uh-oh, I looked at an Enderman, aggroed this guy in the Nether. All right, I'll take you on. Why not? I could do with a couple of extra Ender Pearls. So in terms of fast travel to the Mesa, really all we need to do is take some sort of fast travel station from about here and then go all the way that way for about 500 blocks. Yeah, that's doable. That's doable. Right, so in order to plan this, what we're actually going to do is go back to the overworld. I'm going to go to the Guardian farm because that's actually really close to a frozen ocean. And out there, we're going to procure ourselves a decent amount of packed ice. Mere seconds away from the ocean monument that we converted into a Guardian farm, we have these wonderful constructions in the ocean. These icebergs are loaded with packed ice, and blue ice as well. And blue ice is actually faster to travel on than packed ice, but we're probably going to be using packed ice just because there is more of it here. And in the fullness of time, we might not even need to take down these magnificent structures at all, because we could potentially be farming ice in one of the frozen biomes, or perhaps even in extreme hills nearby Founder's Forge. So maybe, just maybe, we will get along with that. But to start off with, I want to take down a couple of these icebergs and use the packed ice to create some high-speed transport to different locations in the Nether, starting, I think, with this wonderful Guardian farm over here. So I'm going to go and collect a whole bunch of packed ice, and I'll meet you guys back in the Nether when we're ready to demonstrate exactly how this project is going to work. Welcome back to the Nether, where I've already been making a few preparations. This technique is something that I briefly discussed in the episode where we first went out to the iceberg biome and we got ourselves some packed ice. I think it was in the episode where we were running around trying to get a trident and attacking drowned and stuff like that. I briefly mentioned that you can get packed ice from these icebergs, or alternatively from ice spikes biomes if you are lucky enough to find one of those. And you can use them to travel really fast using boats. Boats can actually be placed down on any surface in the game, obviously, and things like lava, it's going to immediately burn. But if you place it down on an ice road like this, and drive along it, you can actually reach really fast speeds. If you're rowing around on the ground, it is a little bit slower, but you can reach super fast speeds on packed ice and even faster speeds on blue ice. But like I said, blue ice is in short supply and means crafting 9 packed ice blocks into a single blue ice block. So it's only really recommended if you have an ice farm and you can get an absolute ton of it, or you just have easy access to a lot of blue ice from those icebergs that you don't mind tearing down. Now, unlike regular ice, packed ice will not melt in the Nether, which is very important because the Nether obviously has a lot of light sources around that will melt it. I can't remember if the natural biome temperature of the Nether also occasionally melts ice, but I don't think it does. I think it's just access to light levels that are high enough, and obviously with glowstone, with lava, fire and stuff like that around, and mobs that can cause fire like blazes, it's often a good idea to use packed ice instead of regular ice. Note that if regular ice melts, normally in the overworld it turns back into a water source. In the Nether, water sources cannot exist, so it just evaporates into steam. No more ice block for you, unfortunately. So the thing we're going to do here is create a nice wide ice road that we can use to travel by boat, and we're going to create barriers on either side that's going to make it possible to just coast all the way back over to the Nether Hub very, very quickly. You might also have noticed that what I had there was a couple of isolated ice blocks, if you'll forgive the pun, kind of dotted around like this with a single block gap in between them. And this is the minimum required to travel across ice roads by boat. You can actually just travel over one block with another block kind of gap between them, like so. If I row along this, whoa, it's a little bit difficult to control. You drift a little bit if you move from side to side, but it is possible to row across a row of ice blocks like this because boats are more than a block long, or at least their hitbox can kind of travel from block to block like that. I'm going to go off the edge if I do that, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful here. And using this method, you can basically use the minimum amount of packed ice possible. And I don't know if I want to do that because I have access to quite a lot of packed ice. We'll also look into how to farm it in a future episode. And it's actually kind of okay to have a large road made of this stuff. But for longer journeys and areas where you might want to conserve the packed ice a little bit, it could just as easily be made out of these blocks here than this giant track of it over here. It is also worth noting that packed ice is a solid block, and solid blocks can spawn mobs, which in the Nether means that they will frequently spawn pigmen. Pigmen can spawn basically anywhere in the Nether, and while they're not immediately hostile to you, they are a little bit annoying when you're trying to travel by boat. You'll bump into them, and as you try and get around them, you'll start to spin out, and it can disorient you a little bit. So sometimes using a method like this is actually preferable because you can place slabs all around the outside of this, making these non-spawnable blocks. Once you've covered this over in a tunnel, no pigmen will be able to walk in from the outside. And by making the ice blocks unspawnable by placing something else on them like buttons, which is not going to impede your travel as you're traveling around on a boat, but will make the block unspawnable. Excuse you, coming over here to destroy my ice? I think not. Yeah, that's right. Get out of here. To traverse them by boat, and you'll be able to travel over them with no problem. So in the long run, we might actually end up using this plus maybe a pattern of some sort of easily available type of slab, like maybe stone slabs or nether brick slabs if we want to stick with the nether theme. And we can use patterns like this to travel through the Nether using the least amount of packed ice necessary for the road. Now, it's worth noting that boat behavior in Minecraft is a little bit glitchy from time to time. It is actually possible if you step out of a boat and for whatever reason the mechanics aren't in your favor to sometimes fall through ice roads like this. It has been documented in this version of Minecraft in particular. 1.13 and 1.13.1 had this issue. I can't remember if it got fixed in the 0.2 update or not. And it may well have been fixed permanently by the time the next major update comes around, but it's important to be aware of these things and to have some sort of safety platform underneath, whether that's one block below or with a gap underneath so that you don't end up like suffocating in a block or anything like that. It might be a good idea to set something like that up, especially considering that this is ideally going to be covered over as a tunnel to prevent ghast attacks and stuff like that. So you might actually want to create a little bit of safety infrastructure as you go. And obviously you might want to do that out of a slightly better looking and more ghast-proof material than netherrack. Don't worry, I've got a couple of fire resistance potions on me, so I can always take care of that if I need to. I don't mind falling in lava occasionally. I should be able to get my way out of it nice and easily. But for now, I think I'll use netherrack temporarily, and then we'll come back through and we'll make this a little bit more permanent later on. But by setting up a nice big ice road like this, super fast nether transport is going to be possible. We'll be able to get over to the Guardian farm in seconds, provided the boat catches up with me at the end. A little bit of entity, like, location glitching there. Fun times. But yeah, I'm going to set this up off camera, I think. You guys have seen the process of this for now. It's something I will probably have ended up done on a live stream or something like that, so by the time you guys have seen this episode, it might have already gone out as a live stream. Don't forget that you can always catch up with the live streams that you miss over on my VODs channel, youtube.com/pixelvods, or you can follow me on twitch.tv/pixlriffs if you want to see this stuff live. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and build this. We're going to get a road all the way over to the Nether Hub, and we're probably going to try and build roads out to the other portals that I mentioned today as well. Hey folks, welcome back. So we got 2 whole tunnels done, more or less. I mean, this is the second one going in right now, give or take the occasional bit of interference from ghasts. I thought that guy wasn't going to see me for a second, but I think we might be able to leave him be. But yeah, we have this second tunnel done. This is the one that's going out to the Mesa, and believe it or not, I found out that I actually did have a portal to the Mesa all along. It's actually at the end of this track here and a little bit up. It's kind of actually at an elevation that makes sense for the overworld. It's about Y64, so I think I'll probably end up bringing that portal down to the level of this tunnel where we currently are at like Y46, 47, that kind of thing. It's not going to affect the Nether portal system too much because there aren't really any other portals around here that it could potentially link up to. So all I need to do is destroy one portal, remake the portal, and it should link to the one in the overworld without a problem. But the live stream is a lot of fun. We managed to get the entire tunnel out to the Mushroom Island and the Guardian farm done, and as we were doing this one, a couple of funny things occurred. First of all, I ender pearled myself through a nether portal by mistake, and instead of ender pearling to the overworld, the ender pearl took the coordinates that I should have arrived in the overworld, and it teleported me there in the nether. So for a second, I thought I was like, I'd misthrown the ender pearl and I ended up in lava, and instead it turned out that I was about 1800 blocks away from where I had started with no real good explanation other than Minecraft mechanics are a little bit glitchy. The second hilarious thing that happened on the stream happened when I was setting up this tunnel, and we were building a temporary netherrack bridge just so I could see quite how far we needed to go, and a chicken jockey decided to use that as a diving board. And both of those moments just felt so funny to me that I figured I would include them in this video, but I only have a little bit more work left to do on this tunnel. Now you'll notice that this one here uses red sandstone as the kind of lining material. The one that we have back over here, if I can get over to this, uses prismarine instead of that. So it's quite clear from the materials we're using here which tunnel goes to which location. Obviously, we haven't put the ice in here yet because it's not completely closed over. I still need to do a little bit more work, but as you can see, this tunnel here is the one that leads out to the Guardian farm, and all we need to do is throw down a boat on this piece of ice here, just get in the boat and start rowing. And if you look at the Z coordinate, you'll notice that we are moving really fast, even if it isn't immediately obvious from the fact that this wall is zipping past. And then all we need to do is get out of the boat at the end, take a tiny amount of damage getting out of it because I end up glitching into the roof a little bit, but that's not a real problem. We could always raise the roof in this place if we wanted to. And just up there is the portal to the Guardian farm up there, and over there is the one that leads to the Mushroom Island just around the corner. So this system works really super well. I decided against having a complete kind of section of the packed ice in the end. I decided to go for this, and the main purposes of that is just to prevent mob spawning in here. If a zombie pigman spawns on any of these blocks, which they can do because they are solid blocks, then it's kind of a problem. It stops you dead in your tracks as you are going down this tunnel, and I thought it was a lot more sensible to just have the entire thing be single pieces of packed ice, and that would mean a little bit less pigman interference. I almost just punched that guy because I thought it would deflect the ghast fireball. So yeah, I decided that I would probably just place single ice blocks along here. That way we have to use as minimum ice and as little buttons as possible, and it looks quite weird and stylish in a way. There's a couple of buttons that are the wrong way around, which is going to drive me slightly mad, so let me repair that one real fast. But yeah, I think this kind of looks almost modern, as though it's like a monorail sort of thing, which is weird because we're using wooden boats to drive around in this, which is the strangest thing about this whole setup. But I think it's going to work out pretty well. The buttons are there just to prevent pigmen from spawning on top of these blocks. Obviously, right now they are wandering in from either end of the tunnel, but once we have this entire thing slabbed off and sealed a little bit, then we should be able to prevent pigmen from spawning in here entirely, and that will make this whole experience a little bit smoother. So I'm going to get the rest of this tunnel done. I only have a little bit more work to do just placing in the ceiling here, and probably heading out to the Mesa to get a little bit more red sandstone, because the only way to make that is to craft it out of a 4x4 of red sand into a regular red sandstone block, and then convert it into slabs from there. It doesn't really occur naturally anywhere, except in the very rare occasion you get the mouth of a cave in a mesa. So I'm probably just going to craft a little bit more of that. I'm going to grab a little bit more of it from the mesa and do what I can with it, and then this tunnel should be all closed up and we should be ready to put the ice in. And at long last, this thing is done. All I need to do is go back and get some stone buttons to put down on the ice, just to make sure that no zombie pigmen spawn as we're traveling through this. But this, believe me, is so fast compared to flying down here with Elytra. Not only that, but if we replace the packed ice with blue ice, it's going to be even faster. And I'm going to fall out the other end, and thankfully, we managed to get over a lava lake and not have a lava lake on the opposite side. So I'm going to move this portal down to somewhere around here. We're going to terminate this platform. I've only got a few of the red sandstone slabs left. I've got about, 40 of them. So it's really not going to be that much left to do here. And I think we're going to call it there. I need to get this episode out to you guys. I'm working a little bit late on this one. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at what is possible with a little bit of an unusual take on Nether transport. This is actually a super fast way of getting around the Nether. So use it wisely, my friends. Use it wisely and try not to drive any boats into lava when you do. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.